This is Lindsay and this is Violetta. We just got down doing our podcast, Real Estate Jefas. Please come check us out. We are everywhere you can download a podcast, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and also on YouTube. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. So we have every episode coming on Thursday. And we talked about how to invest in real estate and also what's going on in the market. Today, we wanted to talk about some deals we've seen. And I'm like, maybe I should show the deal that wholesaler sent me that I'm thinking about. Maybe I should show it too. But we were talking earlier, not last year now. Violetta saw a deal in San Antonio in her backyard about this community living, co-op living, co-living slash I don't know that we wanted to show you because she was interested in this particular house unit. I'm not sure what to call it, but she will show you.
Yeah, I was trying to go live on Instagram, but for some reason it's acting up. Living deal. Yeah, it's a so over the holiday break, I had found a deal that I wanted. I was just like window shopping. I always window shop, and I saw this, and I wasn't planning to like invest until like around this time, so I was just like looking and stuff, and so I ended up finding a cool, unique property, and I actually was going to purchase, and we got all the way up to like negotiating, all the way to like the last step. Literally, the last step was for them to decide whose title company they were going to use or whatever, because obviously each one wants to use their own for obviously they want their money and stuff. And in the meantime, like this was like around the afternoon. They're like, yeah, okay. And I was like, no, let them, whatever. We've already had this deal go back and forth, and I'll get into that in a little bit when I start showing the property. But at the last minute, while we were discussing that, another cash offer came in and it beat me out. And so I ended up losing the deal. And there's a few lessons learned there. And because I kind of was a little bit hesitant, so I kind of like was going back and forth and all this stuff. So um yeah, let me show you the deal. It's still there, so we can still see it. How do I share? Oh, right here. Share screen. I don't know if you. Okay, here we go. So it is a pretty unique property, and one of the things that drew me into it was that it is a co-living space. Now I invest in like multi-family, so I always try to maximize units on just one property. So I saw this, and it was listed as like a 6 unit multi-family co-living space or whatever. But what makes it unique is that it's made out of shipping containers. And I have been kind of like on YouTube and stuff, and I've been seeing people like build like their tiny homes and all that with like shipping containers or just out of sheds and stuff. So I've been kind of like um down the rabbit hole with that already. So then when I saw this property, I was like, oh wow, how cool. And then when I started looking at it, it turns out that it is more of a co-living layout. So first off, the purchase price was 175, and it's listed that it has 6 bedrooms and 1,280 square feet. And again, listed as a multi-family. The only thing is that it wasn't a finished project, so it would be something that I would have to come in and finish, and I have no experience with that. All my multifamilies are already not necessarily turnkey, but pretty close to where I just have to come in, like put LVP down, paint, or little things like that. But this one, let me go to like the pictures. Um, quick little view of the outside. Now they do only have like 1 meter, so I knew that I would have to account for paying the utilities, including the utilities in here. And yeah, it's one of this deal is kind of one that I was gonna be like the deal that got away. I'm gonna be haunted in my dreams about this deal right here. That it's the one that got away. Uh, but oh well, it is what it is. Learn and go on. So like you'll see right here, kind of you walk into this space, which ends up being like a courtyard. So the way they stack the shipping containers is like kind of like in a little square, and they made a little courtyard. And the units are upstairs, and each one is just 1 bedroom, and it has room for a stand-up shower and a toilet, so they have their bathroom. But all of those are upstairs, and downstairs is the shared living space, so they're going to share a kitchen. They shared a dining area, and they had made like a little office area where they could go and like have do whatever in there. And then they had a laundry room downstairs, so everything co-living wise was downstairs. So I thought that was pretty cool. and and yeah, it was like, okay, so let me go down to where it shows. So you can see that there's the doors right there. They're kind of small, so probably enough for like a twin, maybe a full size type of bed. And then you'll see here where like this is how unfinished it was. They did like the rough in plumbing, the rough in electrical work and all that, and they started doing the drywall. I don't think they got to where they started sealing stuff, because you could see there was some like water intrusions like here and there, but not sure if that's also because like the doors were open or whatever. Um, and then you could see in this little corner, that's where like it had enough space to have like a sink, a little small kitchenette thing, and yeah, the rough-in plumbing for the shower and stuff. So they would use the split mini splits for each one. And so the thing is why I was so hesitant about this property was because if you saw, I don't know if you caught that, but up there it says that it was built in 2021, and we are now in 2026. So I'm like, what? Why isn't this property finished? Why did they stop? What's going on here? And so a little bit background, this lot was originally donated to a church back in like 2016 or something like that. They got this lot and they sat on it for a while, figured out. And so what they were going to use this for was to like house like, I don't know, like people that go to the church. I don't know what they do, but people, staff, whatever, um, they were going to house them there. So that's why they did the co-living thing. It's also was in a residential area, so you couldn't have like a multi-family there. So this is kind of like the loophole that they did, in my opinion, because it's basically a big house, a two-story house, and everything's upstairs and stuff, because they got the co-living loophole. And so, yeah, I was wondering what happened. And so when my realtor contacted them, they were like, "Yeah, well, we were going to. That was the plans for this project, but then I guess the church got a donation of a larger lot, so they decided to abandon basically this project and go do the same project in that new lot that they got. And so they just left this here sitting, I guess. And then they finally put it on the market last at the end of last year. And it had already been sitting for like 45 days or something, but 50 days by the time I saw it, or 6 days. I forget, whatever. Anyways, so then I went for it and I started asking. I was like, okay, well, I asked Lynn, I was like, and a few other investors that I know, it's like, okay, so what should I be asking? Because like this is kind of out of my experience. I don't know. And so they're like, oh, ask for the permits, ask for this and that. And so, of course, it was during the holidays, during Christmas and everything. So like the city would be closed and I'd have to wait. I asked them for the stuff and they were like dragging their feet because they're on holidays as well. So it was kind of like 2.5 weeks of us just going back and forth, like, hey, who's the contractors? I need their names and stuff like that. What's the plans, the blueprints? Where were you going to do it? Like, did y'all have any flags, verify with the city to make sure that the property didn't have any red flags of why maybe the city shut it down or whatever. So a lot of going back and forth. And then uh yeah, like I just saw that they did put the permits, but they had expired back in like 2022. So then that meant I'd have to redo everything, submit the blueprints and everything like that. So it was already kind of becoming a bigger project that I kind of wanted in the first place. But let me tell you the reason why I was going to push through and just kind of do a learn as you go and just like reach out to the investors that I know to kind of like guide me through this was what I was going to use this property for. Was I was going to work with the nonprofit, well, VA HUD, I think is what it's called, or VA, something like that. Basically, it's the VA and HUD get together and they house homeless veterans, and they rent out these units from you. You have a lease, and then they're responsible of putting the people there and managing them and all that, and they pay you, market rent, whatever. So that was my plans for that. And which is one of the reasons that the church originally picked my offer, because I submitted an offer which was seller finance. It was a seller finance deal, and that was another part of the negotiation, kind of going back and forth or whatever. And by that time, then two more offers came in. There was a cash offer and another seller finance request one. But they liked kind of my vision or whatever. But then again, at the end of the day, they wanted to sell this, and I got beat out by the second cash offer. So yeah, that's what my thoughts were for this property. So I'm curious before, and I think these pictures down here was kind of like their mocked up of what it would eventually look like, which was pretty cool, like the kitchen area. And then like they would have like a dining area, the bedrooms, how they imagined it would be. And yeah, this is the how it would have been eventually. Some more pictures. Oh, okay. No, but yeah, so I want to get your thoughts first before we go kind of like a little bit in the numbers for Lynn.
Yeah, what was appealing for me from this one. So I live in LA, and we have a lot of Section 8 vouchers, makeshift construction, right? We have like existing churches that are been converted into like apartments, or we have like this same setup, shipping containers having converted into like transitional housing or recuperative care and things like that. So, but this deal was appealing because they were open to seller financing, right?
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
then so when we were talking about it, I'm like, okay, yes, you're gonna have to put a lot of work into this, like the rehab part of it, and also money into it. But I was just running the numbers quickly. If you're renting out like one of the rooms for $500 and not $500 a piece, times seven, that would be something like 3,500, right? Even if you get this 189,000 at price, you're still paying on terms. So whatever your down payment would be, like cash on cash return sounds like great, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
not 100% sure because I'm not versed with like the insurance part of this and the taxes part of it of Texas, but it still seems like there's a lot of meat on these bones to like make a return. And not only that, you had like the goal of like working with the VA to do like vets, like to be able to like provide safe housing for vets. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And also the property in itself is so like artistic and creative that you're like you can, and it could be like a design thing that you want to pour yourself into, or it could be
Mm-hmm.
kind of cool and hip.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's in a good part of San Antonio, very close to university, I think, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I did forget to mention that it was about 9 to 10 minutes from the University of San Antonio. So if the VA didn't work out, I could have all just ended up turning it into dorms, scenario right there. So
Mhm.
yeah, so it had a lot of cool things that I was hoping to do with this property, but yeah, um, yeah, it just didn't work out. But the funny thing is that there was another shipping container home behind on the street behind it, because I used Google Maps and I walked around the neighborhood. And then I also saw another duplex that was made out of shipping containers. They just had two shipping containers and they made them 2 bedrooms each. And that one was out of my price point though. So uh, I wonder if it's still available. I'll probably go back and see if it's like, whatever. But it was nice and stuff. So I guess this idea of shipping containers starting to kind of like work its way through over here, because I've never seen that happen. So
Yeah.
um,
What
lots
kind
to
of
think about.
zoning would that be on this particular? Did you find out?
This one was an R4. I think it has it on here too. Uh, 2021. 90 days. I had seen it here, but yeah, it was residential. So I could have built like I guess I could have, but because it was six rooms, they would have still fallen off of it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, this was really cool because they were open to seller financing. You already had in mind like the grant that you wanted to like apply for housing for
Mhm.
vets. And one of the things that I think is the learning that you take away from this is like this is the first time you offer seller finance deal, right?
Yeah.
You wrote an offer for seller finance deal. So that was like a learning lesson for you. And also like how many things you can offer as a seller finance deal. Not only that down payment is negotiable, the interest rate is negotiable. I even recommended you to give them like that 6 months period of like
Hmm.
no payment. So your payment starts 6 months after because you are gonna start to deploy some cash into this property, right? Like you're gonna have
Yeah.
to get contractors, you're gonna have to fill firm permits, finish the work, and then you're not gonna see any kind of return for like months until you're able to rent out the first unit, right? So
Hmm.
even that adding into the silly finance deal, that was like all a learning lesson. And now you can do it again.
Yeah. And yeah, so I guess I could go a little bit into the kind of what numbers I was kind of looking. And then again, this was kind of like which I don't recommend. It was just going to be as a learn as I go. I would have figured out like, get a lender for uh the rehab portion of it, because I had the money for the down payment and some repairs, but I definitely didn't have the funds to like do all the rest of the project. But I saw the vision and I was like, I'm gonna go for it. And then let's see. Now I gotta share this part. How do I go back to? Oh, down here. Then share what I was thinking, and all of this was kind of like rough numbers. Um, why is this all zoomed in? Okay, I don't know. Anyway, so this is what I kind of like use to kind of track my stuff. Um, to limit, I like to make it pretty, so
Which
so I did.
is available as one of the resources that we offer
Yeah,
for listening to the podcast.
yeah, yeah. I'll link it in the notes. Yeah, you could get this for free. But so the sales price is going to be 175, and the only thing is, they wanted a 10-year note, and I couldn't. And I tried to get them to do like a 30-year amortization, so the payments would be lower, but they didn't want to do that, so they just did like the 10 and like a 10-year balloon payment. But they were like, no, we want the 10-year interest rate was going to be 6%, and the down payment was basically 25K. so about 14%. And so I was estimating that I could probably get set because I would have to include the utilities because it's only 1 meter. So then I'd have to include the utilities. So based on like a rough estimate, I expect to like around 795 for that type of property. Uh, when I was looking at like apartments and other things, it was kind of that. It was a little bit tricky because it's a unique property. It's it's a co-living situation. All the comps have like their own like kitchen and stuff and things. So I kind of went a little bit lower. And then again, I have the utilities. So I was expecting also like estimating like 600 for all the utilities combined. I don't know how accurate that would be. I would have managed this property more than likely, at least in the first year, and see how it went. I would have tried it out for like a year, especially because I was planning to use the VA and they would basically do a lot of the heavy lifting and getting a tenant there, getting them out, and all that stuff. So I figured it was like, oh, it might not be too much work besides doing the stuff, but I still accounted like 10%. And then if I don't get a property manager, well, then I just pay myself the 10%. Um, and then I did everything else, vacancies, repairs, like around 5% because it's a newer one. I don't expect like a lot of maintenance or anything like that. Property taxes were around 4,600, and insurance I just kind of went high and put like 2,000 just in case. And then I don't know if it was feasible because again, I was working on getting a contractor, a general contractor to go on there to give me a quote on, how much I would need for to finish out the project, but I didn't get to that because I got beat out. So overall, I would have gone like let's see, did I miss something? Oh, over here, the cash flow like $600, and yeah, so um, this would have been a passion project for sure, though.
Yeah.
So yeah,
No,
that's
sounds cool. But this is one of the first of many. We are actually gonna get Violeta to buy a house this year. So it could be somewhere in her backyard in San Antonio. So
yeah. Now I'm back on the hunt. This time I'm going through DSCR route. If I find a seller finance, I'll definitely go for that as well. But right now, talk to a DSCR lender, and so now back to looking at properties. Definitely more with intention now. Before it was just kind of like window shopping. So yeah, we'll see what I end up with.
which is she just told me she got a quote for like 6% purchase DSCR,
Yeah,
20% down.
so it's a
Yeah.
6% fixed rate. Could probably get it lower. And he also said like, oh, you might try to get the seller to buy down the rate. I was like, oh, 6% is still pretty good. Um, my last property, I think, is at 7.5 or something. So,
Yeah.
so 6% is better.
And I'm not supposed to be buying, but my wholesaler contacted me the other day and he was like, oh, he called me. And then I ignore his calls because I know he was going to try to sell me something. And this is a wholesaler that I used in the past. I purchased three properties from him because he has the deals. And he texted me immediately after me ignoring his call saying, like, if I'm calling, it's because I got money for you. And I was just like, okay. Send me the deal. I'm just gonna look at it with my eyes closed. But it is a brick building, just like I love it. I'm gonna show you guys. I'm not gonna buy it. I'm not gonna buy it. But it's a
Just
good,
window shopping.
yeah, it's a good deal. Let me share this. I'm not gonna buy it, I swear. There you go. So this is
It's
the
like
pictures
month
that
one, and you're already being tempted.
yeah, month one. Actually, yeah. So it's a duplex brick building. It's a lot of work. That's why I'm saying, like I said, the only way I'm gonna buy is if it's an absolutely like swing on a park, kind of like touchdown. I don't know. But this is a lot of work. This is the basement of the duplex
Mm,
brick building.
it looks creepy and scary, like something from a scary movie.
The cobwebs. Can't believe. But this is downstairs, right? Like all the everything that's plumbing, electrical. Look at those pipes. Nice, right? That's why
Oh,
I'm like, this is a lot of work.
yeah, that's a lot of work right there, and all it just looks complicated.
I know.
Those
So
big
that's why I
giant
said,
pipes.
no. I just said I burned myself from the burst last year. Um, but it's a brick building. This junky ass. Uh, 2 unit, 3 bedroom, 1 bath on the bottom unit, 3 bedroom, one on the top unit, and I have one just like this. But the difference is that my stairs are completely open to the exterior, so there's no framing,
Mm,
no casing, no enclosement. So I learned that that's horrible for my market because obviously my market is in the Midwest and it snows there and it rains a lot. So that's not good for me. At least this one has some type of encasement um, and covering. But actually, I know I'm going to the worst pictures first. But one of the units is actually semi-finished. Here. There you go. We've made it.
mhm.
So there's a
I
kitchen.
don't I don't know if that's like water,
This
cobblestone.
I think
Yeah.
this is like staining, some type of staining that fell on the floor. But I don't
Yeah,
know if
they
like they
already
run
messed
out of
that up.
money. It seems like they renovated one of the units. They not run out of money, the contractor, whatever. But they did some upgrades, like the bathroom, for example. There seems like finished, right?
Yeah, I've seen some properties that they just stop like halfway or whatever, and I guess they just run out of money especially since everything went up last year, so maybe
Hmm.
push
Yeah, I'm
them
not
out
sure
of
what happened
budget.
for this one, but this is one of the units. I don't know if it's the top over the bottom. I think it's the top. But all the flooring is
Oh, is
done. Like everything is painted already. Like I don't know what
that like
this
a
is.
puddle of water?
I know. I don't
It
know
looks
what
like a
I think
puddle
it's
of water.
something the drop, but maybe it's from the ceiling. I don't know. Maybe it needs a new roof. And on
That
the
makes
other
sense.
property, it's actually almost identically to this property that I have. Uh,
Mm,
I had to replace the roof, and the roof in itself, it's a flat roof. It was $16,000 to replace the roof. So that already tells me like this is kind of nice. That already tells me
mhm.
that I will have to look at that roof too. But yeah, this is the second. I think the second floor. I don't know what this is, but I haven't like even sent anybody to book it. Right? Not my realtor, not my property manager, because I'm not buying. Right? So, but yeah, this is a 3 bedroom, 1 bath duplex each side, top and bottom. I know, and the zip code 46404. This ARB, it's at least 200,000.
Mm,
And the wholesaler that's sending me this deal is they wrapped it up for 75,000. So knowing what I spent on my other unit that is almost identically to this, I know that I'm gonna spend at least like 50,000 per unit plus the
mm.
roof. If I need to rechange it, like I don't know, I'm not gonna look, but it's $16,000, and all the junkiness on the bottom of the basement, all the piping.
Yeah, that's the big
I
one.
don't know anything about that, but like on the other unit, it cost me about 90,000 to bring it up to standards of like renting it out. So I think 90,000. So 90 plus 75, that's 100 and oh my god, 165. And this is an ARB of 200. So there is this could be a burr, but it's a skinny burr. Like there's not enough meat on the bone. So I said no. And also, this is like a 6 month project, right? This is all down to the stats. Technically, on this first unit, I think it's the first floor, the first unit, because of all the plumbing and electrical that I will have to reroute, right? I will still have to make holes on the walls and stuff like that. Because I don't know
Mhm.
who started working at it. Maybe they did a good job, maybe they didn't, but I'll have to redo or check their work, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
but yeah, this is something that they sent me. This is like what the outside looks like.
Mhm.
It's brick top and bottom. I did think that they replaced the windows.
Yeah, those look new.
But this tree looks nice. I love the zip code because
Yeah, it looks
all my
nice.
yeah
They like
my
well-kept
Airbnb on the
area.
zip code is pretty high.
That house right there.
I know.
Oh, look,
Uh,
there's a few others over there.
but if you look at this in Gary, why I like this area is because it's close to the hospital here. And it's west of Gary. I don't know if you guys know about Gary, but it's like a cross. I think about it like a cross,
Mhm.
right? So west of Gary, it's the best site to invest, in my opinion. It's so close to the Hard Rock Casino Hotel, and then southeast of Gary is like the best area as well because it's close to the Indiana University Northwest, and then close to like the other little cities around Hobart, Maryville are like this area. But yeah, that's a deal that they sent to me, and I'm gonna stay put. He already dropped the price, but I'm not gonna put him back.
Just trying to resist, but already being tempted in January.
I know Rick is putting us a blast. He's like, I don't know. I think single families are the way to go. And Gary had a hell of a time renting out my duplex there. Me too. Me too. So, uh, but at the same time, like, let's say there's enough meat on these bones. Technically, even if you did have a hard time renting out the duplex, if you do a complete burr, it's an infinite return, right? Even if you're finished and let's say it takes 4 or 5 months to rent out that second unit, it's still an infinite return. But I know what is worth your time and your peace and your money. That's also important to look at. But we wanted to show you these deals that we're well Violeta had to walk away from, and I am
Yeah,
walking away from.
I got so sad like afterwards. I was like, but at the same time, like one of the things I also wanted to talk about it is like towards like when we were getting closer to like finalizing the deal, like I started feeling like that anxiety and stuff like that. And sometimes I like I'm a strong believer that like you start feeling resistance, especially when it was like taking forever to get like the blueprints. I had to go get like figure out what's going on with the permits, and I was asking them for like their contractors so I could contact them, one to, like you said, verify their work, see what they did, where they left off and everything, and then maybe just if they're good, just let them continue their work. So that was stuff, and it was just kind of like a lot of resistance. And I'm like a believer that like once you start feeling like a lot of resistance, like okay, why is this taking so long? Hello, or this or that. Like it's just kind of the universe, I guess, telling you like, you know what, maybe not today. Go for a different one because maybe I would have been out of way, like probably would have been worse or something. I don't know, but still sad that I lost it.
Yeah,
Still
no, and
bummed
that's
out.
lessons learned. Everybody keeps saying that don't get emotionally attached to these houses, but some of the houses are like you see so much potential too.
Mhm.
I remember like early on the investing journey, I was offered a portfolio of 6 houses. And
Mm.
I was like, where do I get the money for the 6 houses? Because at the time I wasn't prepared to like structure a seller finance deal because I didn't know seller finance deal was a thing. So I was like, cash, we have 6 houses, we're selling it for 300,000. So
Mm.
50,000 a house. Five of them are already rented, one of them is not. Right. So
Mhm.
I was just like trying to scramble my ass off, and I didn't have like a community around me, and I didn't have anybody to ask because I was so new at investing that I was just like, it sounds like a good deal, but I can really tell you with confidence that it's going to be a good move for me. And also, I don't have the money to buy it. And then I was even trying to get lenders to buy a portfolio, but I was so new and so green that nobody was like taking me seriously because you're not a seasoned
Mhm.
investor, and we're gonna have to do individual appraisers and that, and like in my mind I was like compounding because like in appraisal 675 per appraisal, that's times six, right? That's like almost
Mhm.
$3,000. But I wasn't looking at what the at the end of the day how much cash flow I was gonna get, or I was just scared. And then so that's why I come over here and like show you the deals and I show you the numbers on my properties, because like if I can move one step at a time, slowly, and show you that like it's not as scary, then so you can do it too.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think that's uh important to know as well, that like have your little your network, like those in the comments and stuff, that they give us tips as well, and others as well. Like I definitely asked, I have a builder friend, and I definitely asked her and sent her the stuff, and she guided me here and there and stuff. So like definitely start building your resources, and it just starts getting like easier to do things faster and whatever. So now I know, if for next time, if something, like not necessarily like this exact deal, but a project that I need to take over, I kind of know what to be asking or whatever a little bit faster instead of like taking like almost 3 weeks. So uh, yeah, just a lot of lessons learned.
Yeah, it's gonna be a learning curve, and that's okay to take your time. You don't need to know everything right away, but you do need to know how to find the information. Yeah. And so, what are you? It seems like right now, when I hear you talk, you say that you may go back to Milwaukee to look at Milwaukee's backyard because Texas price point, like for what you can get in Texas, you could get like a small multifamily in Milwaukee. Is that where you're
Yeah,
going?
yeah. I'm thinking. I'm still learning the market, so I'm trying to find out like what to be expecting and stuff. And uh, right now, like I was just showing Lynn like two other ones that my realtor sent me, and they're kind of like way above that from what I usually pay for a property. Um, and like the first one was like like it had like holes on the siding. It was like rotting away, and I was like, I'm not paying. Ooh, I think this one was 189. I was like, I'm not paying 189 for that, even though it was like, I think it was a 3 unit property. But I was like, I had to put so much work into it, and that means like water got into the house, and like no. And then the other one was at 200K price point, but I haven't taken a really good look at it, because we had to start the live. So later I'll look, but 200,000 is not what I typically pay. But I think this one was also a 3 unit um, property. So um, we'll see, because the thing about here is that the taxes are also high. So it's like to pay a higher price point, and also high taxes, and the rents are lower, in my opinion, than what I could get in Milwaukee. Over here they were like, oh, they were one bedrooms. Like I get it. I forgot. Yeah, the one bedrooms was here, whereas I have the two bedrooms over there. So yeah, so still learning, see what I can get, and I'm gonna try for maybe this month, next month, and then see what's up. If not, just go back. Well, I'll be looking at both to see, because I think my DSCR lender can do Milwaukee as well. I'm gonna confirm, but yeah.
Yeah, and that's exciting because I'm holding back, and then she's actively looking. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we definitely want her to do something creative and or something like add value.
Mm-hmm. I definitely want to do that this year. So
Yeah, I think that's it. I know that we are we have people in the comments, but we're gonna see each other. Please go check out Real Estate Jefas, and we're also doing the countdown for Vegas, and we're gonna see. I think most of the people in the chat in Vegas. So uh,
hmm
we'll be closing up today. But if you have any questions, if you like the video, please like and subscribe or ask us questions so we can put it on a podcast show or episode.
hmm